ॐ दक्षिणास्य समारम्भा शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता स्मर्या गुरुपरम्परा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशववामन कृष्ण पाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञान गुरु सद्यो जात शङ्कर सद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। So now we are in the 5th chapter of the Gita, which is named as the Sarvakarma Sannyasa Yoga. And in the entire Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan talks about the moksha sadhana, which is consistently, what he consistently says is that a mumukshu has to be a karma yogi first, have enough of chitta shuddhi, and then get or acquire the yogyata prapti for this jnanam. What is this jnanam? The Atma Jnanam, which is the one which ultimately frees the person from samsara. And with this chitta shuddhi, he exposes his intellect to Guru Shastra Vakyas. Shastra Vakyas, Guru Mukhena Shastra Adhyayanam Shravanam, Shastra Shravanam he does. And ultimately, it is this knowledge which frees this person from the samsara, which is called as moksha. And therefore, consistently in all the chapters, Krishna stresses on this particular proper sadhana krama, where chitta shuddhi by karma yoga and jnanam by jnana yoga and moksha. And therefore what happens is, in every chapter there is a mix of karma yoga, explanation on karma yoga and jnana yoga, and many times Lord Krishna goes backward forwards. One verse he talks about a karma yogi, the next verse he talks about a jnana yogi, again he comes back to a karma yogi. It is because for Arjuna right now, it has to be understood, Arjuna has to understand that there is no other choice in this marga, moksha marga. And this is the only way karma yoga, step 1, stage 1, stage 2, jnana yoga, and then moksha. Therefore, we have to be very careful as to where Lord Krishna is talking about a karma yogi and where he is talking about a jnana yogi. And ultimately, both the karma yogi and the jnana yogi reach the same end, the same goal called as moksha. It's only that karma yogi starts one step or one stage earlier as a preparatory stage. And we were in the 7th verse of the chapter last time, 5th chapter last time, where he said that, yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyaha sarvabhuta atma bhuta atma kurvanapi na lipyate. Here he is talking about now yoga yuktaha, the one who is yogena yuktaha, karma yogena yuktaha, the one who has committed himself to the lifestyle of a karma yogi, to karma yoga. And such a person, what happens when he follows karma yoga over a period of time? It is for what purpose that he is following karma yoga. Now we already know what is karma yoga. Ishvara arpana buddhya karma kartavyam. Ishvara prasada buddhya karma phala svikritihi is the attitude of karma yoga. And this person, a karma yogi, who's a yoga yuktaha, ultimately what does he get out of this karma yoga? Vishuddhatma. Here atma means the mind. See, atma is used in many connotations. Atma means this Satyam Jnanam Anantam Atma also. Atma is sometimes used for buddhi, for the mind, even for the body also it is used. So we have to understand where Atma is meaning what. It has to be very clearly understood depending upon the context, and also in this what helps us. Acharya Bhagwan Shankara's Bhashya only helps us in finding out where Atma means what. Otherwise, we wouldn't know. And Krishna uses the term Atma in various contexts. We should not say loosely, but ultimately, this whole body mind sense complex is called as Adhyatmam, that which is related to this Atma. Therefore, Atma is logically and legitimately used for all the layers of this anatma also, but we should understand what is the meaning of atma in that particular context. So vishuddhatma here means karma yogena, the one who has attained chitta shuddhi, the mind is clear of all its malas, so it is a vishuddha atma, a mind which has undergone enough of chitta shuddhi. Vijitatma, he develops this capacity to manage the karmendriyas. Karmendriya cheshta nigraha, the unnecessary actions of the karmendriyas. Unnecessary the karmendriyas going after doing this, doing that, doing this. That he is able to manage. The karmendriyas are under his vasha. Jitendriyaha, the jnanendriya nigraha. So such a person, a karma yogi, because he is not very much bothered and disturbed and anxious about the karma phalas, he is a vishuddhatma chitta shuddhi yasya asti saha vishuddha atma karmendriya nigraha यस्य अस्ति सः विजितात्मः ज्ञानेन्द्रिय निग्रहः यस्य अस्ति सः जितेन्द्रियः. And what is the vision that he gets out of this? Ultimately he understands what? He understands sarva bhuta atma aham asmi. I am that consciousness behind every jiva, and he understands that kurvanapi na lipyate. This atma, being a karta, in spite of doing any action, I am not affected. The Atma, I am a Karta Atma. See, when we talk about Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga here, let us understand one thing very clearly. Karma Yoga is doing with an attitude of Ishwararpana Buddhi, Ishvara Prasada Buddhi. And while doing, I still consider myself to be a doer. So Karma Yoga is doing. Whereas in Jnana Yoga, what is Jnana Yoga? It is mere understanding. There is no doing there. Karma Yoga is doing, Jnana Yoga is understanding. And by doing Karma Yoga, doing karma with an attitude of Karma Yoga, one is capable of understanding. What is one capable of understanding? My true nature. What is my true nature? Aham akarta, abhokta, atma, asmi. In spite of doing all my actions, I really do not do anything. This is the understanding. This is the vision of myself that I have to understand, which is got by Jnana Yoga. And I will not understand this vision unless I get enough Chitta Shuddhi by Karma Yoga. So this Karma Yogena Yuktaha, who ultimately becomes a Vishuddhatma, Vijitatma, Jitendriyaha. He, after exposing himself to Jnana Yoga, Shastra Vakyas, Guru Mukhena Shastra Shravanam, Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma Ahamasmi. I am that consciousness behind all the beings. Brahmadi Stamba Paryantam, Acharya says in his Bhasha. From Chaturmukha Brahma, the most exalted Jiva, up till the Jiva Stamba Paryantam, up till Stamba, not Stamba Paryantam means that up till the lowest of the Jivas. Such, Jivas, I am that consciousness behind all these. And I, being the Akarta Abhokta Atma, Kurvanapi na lipyate. Now, what is this vision? What kind of a vision is this that this jnani has got? What is this tattvavit or the jnani after exposing himself to jnanam? Now, Krishna goes to the understanding of a jnani, which is possible by following a life of Karma Yoga. So let's read the 8th and 9th verses together, where Lord Krishna is describing even the natural involuntary actions done by the body, mind, sense complex and the indriyas. This jnani knows very clearly that they are not my actions. Now let us see how he sees this. Let's see the vision of this jnani. He says, verse 8 and 9 together. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavet पश्यन् शृण्वन् स्पृशन् जिघ्रन् अश्नन् गच्छन् स्वपन् श्वसन् प्रलपन् विसृजन् गृह्णन् उन्मिषन् निमिषन्नपि इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेषु वर्तन्त इति धारयन्. What is the understanding or the vision of this Tattvavit or this jnani, the one who gets this jnanam as aham akarta abhokta atma, even in his involuntary actions of the body, mind, sense complex, he does not say, I see, I hear. That's what we say, isn't it? I see, I hear, I smell. This jnani does not say that. It's not mere not saying. He understands. What does he understand? Indriyani indriyartheshu vartante. It is the indriyas which are interacting with their respective objects outside. Indriya artheshu vartante. Na aham kinchit karomi. I do not do anything. It is a mere transaction between the sense organs and the sense objects. And what are these transactions? He says, Pashyan, seeing, Shrinvan, hearing or listening, Sprishan, touching, Jigran, smelling, Ashnan, tasting the food, then Gachan, going, Swapan, going to sleep, Shvasan, breathing, Pralapan, talking, even expressing oneself, Visrijan, excreting or dropping, Grinnan, holding, Nimishan, Unmishan, opening the eyes, Nimishan, closing the eyes, blinking. Now, all these actions, he says, are not my actions. What are they then? Indriyani indriyartheshu vartante. We saw earlier, gunaha guneshu vartante. The anatma indriyas, the anatma body mind sense complex is transacting with the anatma objective jagat outside. Aham na kinchit karomi. Then what am I then? In what way am I related to these actions? If so, in what way? I am what? That's why Kenopanishad, then Upanishad is there, which says, I am that consciousness behind the eyes. The consciousness which gives the capacity to the eyes to see is I. The capacity that is given to the ears to hear is I, that consciousness. The Upanishad says, Shrotrasya Shrotram. I am the ear behind the ears. Okay, Shrotrasya Shrotram. Manaso Manoyat. I am the mind behind the mind. I am the consciousness which makes the eyes eyes. I am the consciousness which makes the mind function as a mind. I am that consciousness. By my mere presence and blessing, all the karmendriyas and jnanendriyas are doing their work. I am in not any way involved. Just like light blesses all the actions, the sunlight, you take it as sunlight. Sunlight blesses everything that is happening in the Jagat, but the sunlight itself does not get affected. It only makes, or it only propitiates the actions that can happen. It only, takes care, or it only makes action happen, but in its presence everything happens, but sunlight is not affected by any action. In space all the actions happen, but the space is not affected by any of the actions which are happening in the space. Similarly, I am the consciousness which by mere blessing make all the sense organs work, and I am a mere sakshi to all the actions that are happening at the level of body mind sense complex, which will be explained in the same chapter in the verse 13 again, as to what is actually the jnani's idea about himself as an akarta. Then again now Krishna comes back to the karma yogi here. And in the next verse he says, Brahmani adhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyatena sapapena padmapatramivambhasa. Very commonly chanted verse, and we are all quite aware of this verse. He says, we talked about a tattvavit in the previous chapter, a jnani who understands that I, the consciousness, am a mere witness. I merely bless all the actions taking place at the level of anatma. I myself am not in any way involved in the action. This is the understanding of a tattvavit, or the one who has understood, who knows the nature of himself, who knows the nature of Atma as a Karta. But here in the next verse again, the person who's trying to get this vision, who is still a Karma Yogi, who has to actually, what is the attitude that he has towards all the karmas that he is doing? He still hasn't developed the vision that I'm not the doer. He hasn't developed that vision that aham akarta asmi. But then even this karma yogi is not affected by the karmas or the karma phala, not because he has got this tattva jnana, only because he is offering all the karmas to the Lord with the attitude of karma yoga. So here he says, Brahmani adaya. Adhaya means arpayitva, having offered. Adhaya, where? Brahmani, Ishvare, offering all the actions to the Lord. Karmani, Brahma, Sarva Karmani, Karmani, Ishvare, Arpayitva. All the actions having been offered to Ishvara. Sangam Tyaktva Karoti Yaha. Sangam Tyaktva. What is the meaning of Sangam? I am doing this action. This is my action. I am doing this action for the sake of this particular result. This is called as the Sangam. An anxiety towards the Karma Phalam, a kind of an involvement or entanglement with the karma phalam, that is called as the sangam. The entanglement with the karma itself as my karma, and the entanglement with the karma phala that is to accrue as this is for me, this is what is called as the sangam. But then what is the attitude of a karma yogi when he does the karma? There is neither ahankara or mamakara in the karma that he is doing. Then what is his attitude when he is doing the karma? Maya idam kartavyam. I have to do this at this particular time. Wherever I am, I may be a warrior in the war field like Arjuna. I may be a grahastha taking care of a family. I may be a teacher teaching somebody. Whatever I may be, in that particular role that I am playing, at that particular time, whatever is to be done by me, maya idam kartavyam iti ahankara mamakara rahita sangam tyaktva. Okay, Sangam Tyaktva means giving up that entanglements as my karma, aham karomiti, giving up. What does he do? He does his karma brahmani adaya. What happens then? Saha papena na lipyate. Kindly, go through the verses with me as I'm chanting. Go through, because the words of the verses are rearranged. That sometimes we have to rearrange the words to make the proper meaning. So here, lipyate na sa papena means saha papena na lipyate. Papena means what? Karma phalena na lipyate. Phalena means papena va punyena va. That means karma phalena na lipyate. And what example does he give? Padma patra iva ambhasa, like a lotus leaf in a pond of water. Now, water just slides over the lotus leaf, right? But the lotus leaf does not get wet at all. Actually, there are drops of water you'll find just, going and playing on the, Padma Patra, on the lotus leaf. Rather than getting wet by that water, what does this lotus leaf do? It gives a shine to those drops of water. Have you not seen the water drops on Padma Patra or the leaves of lotus? They look so beautiful. They look so bright. And actually, the lotus leaf, rather than getting tainted and wet by water, gives a shine to this water which is flowing over that. Similarly, a karma yogi, rather than getting affected, rather than getting bound by the karma phala, he gives a glow, he gives a shine to all the karmas that he is doing, and also to the karma phalas, merely because of his attitude of attributing all his actions to the Lord and then accepting all the karma phalas as the Lord's prasada. So such is a person who is not, it is called as the nirlipta karma. The karma also doesn't bind him, the karma phala also doesn't bind him. Now, whatever this karma yogi does for chitta shuddhi, he is going to talk about in this verse, saying that this attitude of the karma yogi is only for the development of chitta shuddhi and then jnana yogyata prapti and jnanam. Krishna wants to keep on emphasizing on this, because it has to be made very clear to Arjuna that there is no shortcut to jnanam. There is no shortcut to moksha. Now, in the next verse, in the 11th verse, he says, Kayena manasa buddhya kevalairindrayairapi yoginah karma kurvanti sangam tyaktvatma shuddhaye. Now he says, Kayena manasa buddhya kevalai indriyairapi. Now, whatever actions are being done by anybody, how do we do it? First is manasa sankalpya. The mind proposes a particular action. But the mind is always directed by what? By ragadveshas. I want something. I want to achieve something. I want to attain something. So the mind proposes directed by ragadveshas, manasa sankalpya. But then the buddhi has to decide whether the proposed action by the mind is right or not. So the buddhi has to do the nishchayatmika buddhi. Buddhya nishchitya. Once the buddhi decide, yes, this has to be done or not to be done, then the action is executed by what? Indriyaihi, kayena. That means by the body. Okay, karmendriya vyapara, it becomes jnanendriya vyapara, karmendriya vyapara, it becomes. But then, how does this particular yogi do this? Karma yogi do his actions. He also has manasa sankalpya buddhya nishchitya kevalaihi indriyaihi api. Kevalaihi indriyaihi api means what? Mamatva varjitaha, mamakara varjitaha. Only the indriyas are interacting or transacting. It is literally the same thing which is being explained, what was explained in the 9th verse. kevalaihi indriyaihi api means indriyani indriyartheshu vartante. The body goes through its actions, transactions. Indriyas are interacting with the indriyas. And these karma yogis, karma kurvanti sangam tyaktva atma shuddhaye. So all the karmas done by giving up the sangha to the karma or the karma phala, understanding that it is only ultimately for the sattva shuddhi, atma shuddhaye, again here atma shuddhaye, for chitta shuddhi, for actually the purification of the mind through karma yoga. Sangam tyaktva atma shuddhaye. Here previously what it was saying, sangam tyaktva karoti yaha brahmani adhaya. Brahmani adaya karma yoga bhavena. Then here he says tyaktva sangam karma kurvanti karma yoginaha, for what? Atma shuddhaye, for chitta shuddhi. Though their actions are also manasa sankalpya buddhya nishchitya, there is no question of ahankara or mamakara in this. That is why we saw similar verses earlier in the previous chapters. I'm sure you remember them. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya. Isn't it? We saw that in the second chapter. And then again he says, Niyatam kuru karmatvam. Okay? Niyatam kuru karma. Whatever you are supposed to do, you do it. Karma yoga buddhya. Yogastha kuru karmani. Okay? Then yoga karma kaushalam, he said in that verse. In the, I think it is the 49th verse here. So, yogastha kuru karmani, niyatam kuru karmatvam, all these are the same things which are being said again and again. As I said, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna repeats this frequently in different ways to make us understand that this is the ladder of sadhanas of a mumukshu. So, sangam tyatva atma shuddhaye yeva. And once the atma shuddhi, that means the chitta shuddhi happen. Atma does not need any shuddhi. I, the atma, satyam jnanam anantam brahma nitya shuddha buddha mukta atma, does not require any shuddhi. What requires shuddhi is the mind or the chitta shuddhi. So with this, what do I do? With the karma yoga attitude, kayena manasa buddhya kevalaihi indriyaihi api yoginaha karma kurvanti sangam tyaktva atma shuddhaye. Then again, what is the result of this when the person is doing his karma? Karma yogena yuktaha karma yogi atma shuddhaye sangam tyaktva, when he does this particular all his actions, what is at that moment as he's doing his karma, as he's experiencing the karma phala, what is the state of the mind of such a person? He says, Yukta karma phalam tyaktva shantimapnoti naishtikim ayukta karma karena phale sakto nibadhyate. Now he gives a contrast between a karma yogi doing his karma with karma yoga attitude and a karmi, a mere karmi who's doing his actions without the attitude of karma yoga. At the time of doing his karma or actions, and when he's going through, or when he is having the bhoga of the karma phala, when he's experiencing the karma phala, what is the state of the mind of a karma yogi? He says, Shantim apnoti. Shantim apnoti. A mind which is not perturbed by the karma, a mind which is not fearful or anxious and all the time, is posited in the future of, oh, what karma I will get, phala I will get, what will happen? Will this karma give me the phala I want? If this doesn't happen, what to do? That kind of a disturbance is not there. There is shanti, there is a peace. When there is no anxiety of the future, where there is no anxiety or depression, or even, there is no question of regrets about the past, because I have done my karmas, whatever I have to do. Maya idam kartavyam iti Ishvara arpana buddhya. When I have done my job, there are no regrets about what I have done before, and I do not have any kind of anxiety about the karma phala that is going to accrue. And therefore, what is the state of a mind of this person? Shanti. He's peaceful. Doing the action, he's peaceful, not worried about the results. There is no sangha with karma or karma phala. When the results come also, he's absolutely calm and quiet, and there is peace in him. He experiences the peace which is naishtikim, karma yoga nishtha. Karma yoga nishtha janya shanti. A person who is abiding in karma yoga, that peace of mind which he experiences while doing the karma and while experiencing the results of the karma is called as naishtikim shantim apnoti. Naishtikim shantim apnoti. The shanti associated with, related to the attitude of karma yoga, because he has given up what? Karma phalam tyaktva. He has not given up the karma phala. He has given up the sangam with karma phala. And he is a yuktaha, karma yogena yuktaha. Whereas what about a ayuktaha? That is a person who is not a karma yogi, but who still does all the karma with ahankara mamakara, with the sangha for the karma phalam. Ayuktaha kamakarena. This ayuktaha is actually prompted by his ragadveshas. There is no dilution of ragadveshas. Remember, karma yoga is the best way of diluting my ragadveshas. Whereas a person who does, when we do karma without karma yoga attitude, then most of the times the sankalpas of the mind are prompted by ragadveshas. We have seen that. Where are the ragadveshas posited? Where, which are the ayatanams, or which are the locations for raga to be there? Indriya, manas. Mindriya and mana are the places where the raga and dvesha are posited. But a karma yogi is able to dilute his raga dveshas, whereas an ayuktaha karmi kamakarena, all his actions are prompted by what? Raga dveshas. And phale saktaha nibadhyate. Phale saktaha, he's bound by his actions, he's bound by his karma phalas. So where is the question of shanti for him? Ashantasya kuthas sukham, Krishna said earlier, isn't it? It is a bhara, it is a mind which is very heavy. There is no shanti. For such a person, ashantasya kuthas sukham. Okay, then the same in the next verse also. Now, the 13th verse onwards, Krishna talks about Jnana Yoga. That is, all this time he has talked about a karma yogi. Now he talks about the understanding that is gained by a karma yogi becoming Jnana Yoga, Yogyaha, Jnana Yoga Yogyaha, and the one who exposes his intellect to the Jnana Yoga, and what this Jnanam actually makes him understand. What Karma Yoga gave him by doing, now the Jnana Yoga gives the same thing to this yogi by way of knowing, by way of understanding. And this understanding is permanent. It is forever. And such a person now, a Jnana Yogi, what does Jnana Yoga give this yogi? What is the understanding of a Jnana Yogi about his own nature? Atma, what am I? I am akarta bhokta atma iti. That is going to be understood how? By a Jnana Yogi who has gone through the sadhana of Karma Yoga. Is going to be talked about from this verse up to the 21st verse. So we'll go to the 13th verse. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan. So what is a jnani? A jnana yogi understands about himself. He says, Sarva karmani manasa sanyasya. All the actions have been given up, not like a karma yogi, brahmani adaya, but manasa sanyasya means jnanena. Manasa here means by knowledge, by understanding that aham akarta atma iti jnanena sanyasya. Here he doesn't have to do anything. he has to understand. As a karma yogi, he had to offer his karmas brahmani adaya. Here, manasa sanyasya, jnanena sanyasya, sarva aham akarta iti jnanena. It is as good as he has given up all the karmas by this knowledge. Sanyasya aste sukham vashi. Sukham aste vashi. Vashi is what? The one who has got the sense organs under his nigraha. He is called as a vashi. We saw that Vijitatma, Jitendriyaha. Such a person is called as a vashi, and because of this knowledge and because of the training that he has undergone, preparation that he has undergone under Karma Yoga, he is a vashi. Sukham aste. He has that shanti that is developed by the jnanam, that aham akarta atma iti sarva karmani jnanena sanyasya. How does he exist? He gives an example. Navadvare pure dehi. I, the atma, without doing anything, not without doing means what? Not really doing any actions, akarta, as a how do I sukham aste vashi. Sukham aste, how sukham aste? I am peacefully abiding where? Navadvare pure dehi. In this deha of 9 gates, Bhagwan compares this body to a 9 gated city, a walled city with 9 gates. There are some, inlet gates, entry gates, some which are exit gates. Navadvare. So he compared this. Like our body is also like a particular walled city with 9 gates. There are 7 entrance gates and 2 exit gates. The 7 entrance gates are really posited in the head portion itself. 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 nose, and good. Those one mouth only we have got, but unfortunately it has got 2 functions: eating function and a speaking function. So one mouth is enough. So 7 openings, they are the gates of entry, into this body, and there are 2 exit openings for excretion, which are in the lower part of the body. So we have Navadvare Pure Dehi. This 9 gated walled city this body is compared to. And where does this Atma stay? Where is this Atma? Atma is everywhere. Yes, we have seen that Sarvagatam Atma. But with reference to the body, where is this Atma? Navadvare Pure, this Dehi. Dehi means I, the Atma. Sukham Aste. This Dehi is comfortably abiding in this 9 gated walled city. And na iva kurvanna karen. The example here has to be understood that in, a fort, walled city, there is a Puraswami, maybe there is a king. What does he do? He doesn't have to do anything. His mere presence, his mere observation, under his mere adhyakshatvam, or what you call as under his, he's like a presiding officer. He doesn't have to do anything. He just is there. All the others are doing their work. He simply sits there, the king or the Swami, Puraswami, everything is done by the others. This is the example given here, that this Jnani, the Jnana Yogi, understands that Aham Atma Akarta Asmi. I am a mere Dehi. In my presence, all the Indriyas, Indriyani, Indriyartheshu Vartante, by my mere presence, in my mere presence, I just bless the sense organs, the body, mind, sense complex, to carry on their actions. Therefore, naiva kurvan na karayan. I neither do anything directly nor indirectly. I make somebody else do it. At least the king indirectly is making somebody do something by his mere presence. But here, Navadvara Pure Dehi, I am neither doing any action directly nor am I, making anybody do any actions. So whatever actions are happening, how are they happening then? That is what is going to be told now by Krishna, how they are happening. Okay, that will be told later here. Now in the 14th verse, now, that he'll talk about it. What is it that really makes these actions happen? Swabhava, he's going to talk about it later as to what creates or what actually the Navadvare Puredehi, how in his presence the actions, how in its presence the actions are happening. So here the Jnana Yogi has the understanding, the knowledge that I am the Akarta, Abhokta, Atma, Aham, Asmi iti. He has very clearly understood and he does not do anything. Na hanti na ghatayati. We saw that in the second chapter, isn't it? He neither does anything directly nor does he provoke anybody else to do anything for him indirectly. Now in the 14th verse he says that न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभुः न कर्मफलसंयोगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते. That is what I was telling right now. Now he says that what is the meaning of this Atma? Neither doing any action by itself nor indirectly making somebody else do its action. Do actions, whatever action, because no action belongs to Atma. It is not Atma's action. All the actions belong to the body, mind, sense complex. In which case, then what is it that is making the body, mind, sense complex do all the actions? We have to see that, isn't it? Now, Krishna himself is talking. Is Krishna's talking not an action? He's a jnani. All the gurus who are jnanis, are they not doing their actions? They're also doing their actions in the form of teaching, in the form of speaking. All the actions are being done. In spite of that, the jnani knows that I'm not doing anything. Then in that case, what is it that really stimulates this action? What is it that provokes this action? Now Krishna is going to say what is it that happens. Now he says, Na kartrutvam na karmani lokasya srijati prabhuhu. Prabhuhu means Atma. Prabhuhu means prakarshena vartate iti. Okay, prakarshena bhavati. That means he is self-existent without any depending on anything else for its existence. It illuminates, it manifests itself, reveals itself, self-revealing. Self-revealing and independently existing consciousness is called as Prabhu. And this Atma does not create Kartrutvam. This Atma does not make anybody a Karta. It does not make any body, mind, sense complex a Karta. Na Karmani. This Atma does not create even objects of karma. Kartrutvam is also not created by Atma. Atma, Brahman, we have to take as one. Atma, Brahman does not create objects for action. Atma does not create kartrutvam in anybody. And also, na karma phala sanyogam. The Atma is also not responsible for connecting the karta with the karma phala. So, Atma, I have nothing to do with either the objects of karma or the kartrutvam or the connection between the karta and the karma and the karma phala. There is absolutely no role of me, Prabhu, who means I, the Atma. Then what is it that makes this action possible? Svabhavastu pravartate. What is Svabhava? Prakriti, Anatma. It is the Prakriti, it is the Maya which actually makes the Anatma do whatever has to be done. Because by nature, Prakriti is Gunamayi. It has three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, we have already seen. It is these three gunas of Prakriti, which ultimately make or provoke action by the Anatma. And Prakriti is what? Anatma. It is Prakriti under the guidance, under the Maya Adhyakshena Prakritihi Suyate Idam Characharam Jagat, he says next in the 9th chapter. Krishna says that. So ultimately it is Prakriti under me, taking consciousness, borrowing existence and consciousness from me. It is the Svabhava or the Prakriti. And Prakriti is inherent where? In the Anatma. What is the job of Prakriti? To make the Anatma work actually. So Brahman or Atma as if has given the responsibility of the functioning of the entire Anatma Jagat to Prakriti or Maya. So, what is it that makes my body, mind, sense complex function? It is my Swabhava. It is my Prakriti. It is the combination of three gunas which are given by Prakriti in this particular body, mind, sense complex that make this body, mind, sense complex function and interact with the Prakriti called as the Jagat outside. Indriyani indriyartheshu vartante, guna guneshu vartante. Then who am I? Navadvara pure dehi. In, in my presence, with my blessing, I loan or I donate this consciousness to my Prakriti, to my Indriyas, to the body, mind, sense complex to function in a particular way. Therefore, Krishna says, Arjuna, I'm also speaking now, telling you what is, this thing, and action is happening here also. But I am not the speaker. I am not the teacher. You are not the listener. It is ultimately the Swabhava or Prakriti because of which all the transactions between the Anatma Jagat and the Anatma body, mind, sense complex are happening. And not only this, Arjuna, I, the Atma, do not accrue any papa or punya or karma phalam. That is again told by Krishna here. Let me tell you now why Krishna says this after reading this verse. Let us read the 15th verse. Nadatte kasyachit papam na chaiva sukrutam vibhuhu ajnanena vritam jnanam tena muhyanti jantavaha. Krishna calls us, the living beings, as jantus. We are called as jantus. Jantus means what? Punaha punaha jayate iti jantuhu. That's all it is. Jantu does not mean a worm here. We may use that word jantu, colloquially for a small worm or an insect we may use. But then jantu here means that which is born again and again and again. Punah punah jayate iti jantuhu. So he says, jantavaha. No, the human beings, we are born again and again. We think that we are doing all these actions. Why? Because we are deluded. We are confused by ajnanam. He says that, nadatte kasya chit papam. I, the Atma, do not accrue any karma phala in the form of papa, nachaiva sukrutam, not even punya. Punya papa bhoktritvam is not there for me. I, the Atma, is akarta, was already told. Now he says, aham Atma abhokta api, and I don't, na adatte. That means I do not actually take upon myself any punya or papa done by through the karma of the anatma. Through the karma of the anatma, whatever papa punya is accrued, it is not for me, the atma. Then why do people think that they are the ones, who are the kartas and the bhoktas? He says it is because jnanam ajnanena avritam. Here jnanam means what? The intellect here. The intellect, the jnanam, the viveka buddhi, the discrimination of the buddhi is covered by ajnanam. What is the ajnanam? The ajnanam is I do not know that aham akarta abhokta atmaiti. That ajnanam about my real status, that I am akarta abhokta. That ajnanam is veiling my intellect. And because of this ajnanam, which veils my real nature in my buddhi, therefore muhyanti, we are confused. The jantavaha, we are confused regarding the kartritvam and bhoktritvam. Because I do not know now that I am the akarta abhokta atma. All the actions that are done by the body, mind, sense complex are taken by me as done by me. I see, I go, I do. Everything I say I. Actually speaking, I, the Atma, am not the doer. That particular jnanam, that knowledge is not there in me, because what is the nature of me, the Atma? I am not the doer. That particular aspect of knowledge, that jnanam is not there. This Viveka jnanam is not there. This Viveka, Atma Anatma Viveka is not there. Therefore, this Ajnanam, Viveka Ajnanam, is actually blunting my Viveka Jnanam. It is covering my buddhi, and therefore I am not able to see myself as a karta. I am not able to see myself as a bhokta. It is only when I get this jnanam, what we saw in the previous verse, na karmani, na kartrutvam, na karmani. When, as a jnana yogi, I understand my true nature, then I really understand that I do not do anything. Now, Krishna is specifically mentioning here about bhoktritvam. He has already said that aham akarta, isn't it? Why should Krishna again say aham abhokta atma iti? Why should he say na adatte kasya chit papam? That means I am not responsible for taking up anybody's karma phala of punya and papa on myself. Anybody means here, even my this body mind sense complexes, punya papas, I am not responsible at all. It is the jiva who thinks, it is the ahankara who thinks, that the ajnani jiva who thinks that I am responsible, that is the jiva who is going to get this punya papa phala, not I, the akarta abhokta atma. Why is he saying this? Now, there is a certain system of philosophy called as Sankhya system of philosophy. In this philosophy, what they say is Atma is akarta, but ultimately Atma is the bhokta. It is their way of saying. We have different darshanas. Sankhya darshana says Atma is akarta, but it is bhokta. So here, Lord Krishna wants to very clearly bring this, that aham, I am neither the karta nor the bhokta. So very clearly he says that na datte kasyachit papam na chaiva sukrutam vibhuhu. Vibhuhu again here means atma. Okay, vividam bhati. I, this atma, who manifests in different forms, in the form of different, giving my presence to all the different actions. Vividham bhati vibhuhu aham atma. Vibhu also means I, the atma. I do not take up any anatma's punya papa phala at all. Therefore, I am the abhokta atma. So, what is the knowledge of this jnana yogi? Aham akarta atma, aham abhokta atma. This clear understanding of my nature as aham akarta abhokta atma asmi. All the actions are gunaha guneshu vartante, indriyani indriyartheshu vardante. This understanding is called as samyak darshanam, samyak jnanam, the correct vision. Now I don't have the right vision of myself, but after going through karma yoga, jnana yoga, what I develop is what? The correct vision, the correct knowledge, the right vision called as samyak darshanam. What is the samyak darshanam? Aham nitya shuddha buddha mukta akarta abhokta atma asmi. This is the vision of a jnani. Now let us go to the 16th verse, since we still have a little bit of time. How, this ajnanam is removed. We saw ajnanena avritam jnanam. It is as if my intellect, my discriminating intellect, is veiled by the ajnanam, atma ajnanam, viveka, the ajnanam of the viveka, or viveka of atma ajnana, viveka ajnanam. I mean, atma ajnana, anatma ajnanam is veiling my viveka jnanam. So how does it get out? That's what he's saying in the 16th verse. Jnanena tu tadajnanam yesham nashitam atmanah tesham adityavad jnanam prakashayati tatparam. Now he says that this ajnanam can only be removed by atma jnanam. What is the ajnanam? It is the ajnanam about the nature of the atma. Atma ajnanam. Correct? Huh? So what can remove that? Atma Jnanam can only remove that, isn't it? Huh? Physics Ajnanam can be removed only by physics Jnanam. Fine. English Ajnanam can be removed only by English Jnanam. Therefore, Atma Ajnanam, Atma Anatma Aviveka can be removed only by Atma Jnanam or Atma Anatma Viveka. So he says, Jnanena yevatu Ajnanam Nashitam Atmanaha. For that particular person, knowledge only. And what knowledge? Atma Jnanam, no other knowledge. And Tesham Adityavad Jnanam. How does it remove the Ajnanam? Adityavad, like sun. How does the sun light remove the darkness? Is it very slowly? No. At once, without any preference. The sunlight completely dispels darkness. Similarly, for these Ajnanis, when they have done enough of Karma Yoga, these Mumukshus, us, we are Ajnanis, but we have already gone through the sadhana of Karma Yoga, have acquired enough Chitta Shuddhi, have exposed ourselves to the Shastra Pramana, Guru Mukhena, and then this Jnana Yoga has given me this knowledge that Aham, Akarta, Abhokta, Atma, Asmi, Aham, Punyam va Papam, Na Adatte. Okay? And whatever karma I am doing is Indriyani Indriyartheshu Vartante. The karma phala nor the karma does not belong to me. This has been made very clear by this knowledge, and this knowledge is the light of knowledge which dispels the darkness of my Atma Ajnanam instantaneously. Prakashayati tat param Atmanam. This param Atma, this Atma, the nature of which is akartritvam, abhoktritvam, is for these mumukshus, Adityavad Jnanam Prakashayati, at once, totally, simultaneously, like switching on the light in a dark room. How long does it take for the darkness to disappear? Immediate, simultaneous, and everywhere. Wherever the light is, everything. Similarly, this Atma Jnanam removes my Atma Ajnanam in this way. Therefore, ultimately, the Jnana Yogi gets this knowledge which totally frees him from all misconceptions, all the wrong notions about myself, which I have got all these janmas, which is the reason for what? Which is the reason for my bondage and for my samsara. But this knowledge, once for all, clears out all the darkness of my ajnanam. That is why in Mundakopanishad it says, Bhidyate hridaya grantihi, chidyante sarva samshayaha, kshiyante chasya karmani, tasmin drishte paravare. In one stroke, the ajnanam is removed. And then I understand. I don't have to make any effort to keep on reminding me that I'm an akarta, I'm a bhokta, I'm nitya, shuddha, buddha, mukta atma. I don't have to make any effort. It is an understanding, it is a knowledge which remains with me, never to get wasted, never to go away. It is something which completely removes this ajnanam, not to come back again. So we will stop with this. ॐ नन्दन्तु साधका सर्वे विनश्यन्तु विदूषकाः अवस्थाशाम्भवी मेस्तु प्रसन्नोऽस्तु गुरुः सदा सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखमाप्नुयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।